Okay, we're ready.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order, the Norwich Tennis Committee. Paul Zinowitz will not be joining us tonight. And as we always do, are there any citizens' comments? Is anybody aware of any citizens' comments?
No, none.
No, not at all.
All right, so our next move is to review the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any issues?
No.
I had one section in the old business line that says, I'm talking about the Stanton courts, and it says the inevitable will be resurfacing. We're looking at post-tension concrete, which lasts 6 to 8 years. I'd like to have that sentence removed.
Starting with what?
The last sentence in of the Stanton court, it says the inevitable will be resurfacing.
Okay. Okay,
Anybody like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I will make that motion to accept the minutes
Would someone like to second
as
that?
amended.
Someone care to
I'll
second it?
second that.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, the ayes have it. We'll accept those minutes as amended. All right, we can move into the new business, specifically the fundraising efforts as listed on our agenda. Cheryl, do you have any other stuff from any other information from our last meeting?
No new fundraising. It stands at, is it 19,000 and just lost that screen. Yeah, no new since the last meeting. It's around 19,000 as I find it.
Okay,
Okay, our last budget update, it noted it was 14,000. So I think that we did have a $5,000 donation.
Yes, okay, the $5,000 donation came in. And that's the only update.
Okay.
can you disclose who that's from, or you'd rather not?
I don't see why that's a problem, and you'll be interested to know, Martha. It came from Art Sayed. Yes, that would be my thought too. There
Okay.
was. Did you tell me that somebody else had donated too? I think Cheryl. I went and looked on the list of donators, and that list again has not been updated. So if you could get Cassidy to do that, so I can go and send those thank you notes to Bart. And I think there was another woman that made a $100 donation whose name I did not notice. I think it was Nugent, I believe. But can you have her update that so I can look at it?
Yeah, I have it. I got the list now. 19,367 and 13 cents. But I will look up if we missed anybody. Fred Nugent was
I'm sorry?
you said someone by the name of Nugent?
That's what I thought.
I'm looking at the sheet now.
I think it was Ted.
All right, yeah, I don't see that here, so I'll ask Cassidy if anything new came in.
Okay, great. So if you would, Cheryl, would you brief everybody on our latest quote from Classic Turf?
Yes, so Classic Turf got us this quote and then Martha forwarded it to everyone a little bit earlier. So it looks like for the tennis courts, along with the fence and curbing, it's $472,831.10. And then we did have him quote the whole project, including the parking lot, the walkway, sidewalks, and the lighting. So those are things we could add on if we receive more funding. At this time, we do not have funding for the add alternates on here. But as you know, I did put in for ARPA monies for the May 2022 disbursement. I put in funding for those items. But I don't think we'll know that for several months. The
And-
472 is over what we have. We have 400,000 plus the 19,000 we fundraised, so we're short.
But now, didn't we have we had how much coming in from the city? At the very beginning,
100,
100,
100,000.
and we just got 300 from the COVID?
correct.
Okay,
The grant with USTA, they pulled any of that grant funding because they took a hard hit in COVID.
Okay.
From what I
Uh,
understood, told me.
can you tell me what are the letters for the grant, the
American Rescue Plan,
ARP?
ARP.
Okay, thanks. So this is like a non-negotiable proposal. I mean, this,
I'm not
We-
sure.
okay,
I guess that's what we can talk about tonight. This was through the CREC, which is a cooperative. And as you read at the top of the proposal, it's a Capital Region Education Council cooperative program, which gives you preferential pricing and approved vendors and the bid. So typically the lowest, the lower price, these companies won the state bid for the lowest prices. So this is one way you can do it, or you go out to bid
Mhm.
and then see, that's where all companies can compete.
But then you don't, if they all come in higher, you can't go back to this one.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
so it's like a catch 22 kind of.
Well, in looking at that bid, I was also had some concerns at the bottom where it said, site preparation or design is not included, neither is sales tax. So conceivably that bid is going to be even higher.
Oh, design wasn't in there. Good catch.
No, it was not, neither was the sales tax. That's an old ploy. Take our bid. Oh, we just forgot to put in the $24,000.
Well, I think municipality were tax exempt.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
But the design was something that we were going to try to pursue on our own, was it not?
No. What I understood, Ryan was including that in this bid. So I'll have to clarify that with him. I thought his price would have included that.
It certainly should have. I went and looked and compared the old bid to the new bid, and it's essentially the same thing, except that the new bid includes the skirt around the perimeter, which is what they put the fence in.
Yeah, curb 4, someone asked to.
Yeah.
Craig, you know what curb that was?
Say that again, please.
Fence, yeah. I didn't know what the curb was. I asked what the curbing was.
The curbing is it's separate from the court, so that if anything happens to the court, the fence is separate, that you can fix the fence if anything happens to the fence. And it's part of the court, but it isn't, sort of thing. It's part of the project, but it's not part of the court itself.
So the curb is where the fence goes into?
Fence goes, yeah, the fence poles will go in that. sort of
Okay.
area.
It's basically a frame around the court.
Right.
You can picture that. It just goes around the court, skirts the court itself.
So the surface goes directly up and against the curb. There's no space?
I think there is a space, actually. I think there's a
Oh.
small, kind of a V type space, I believe.
And the accessories are the nets? Number
Yes,
5?
I found that. It's listed in F down below.
Oh,
It is? I didn't see that.
New portable net posts, nets, and center straps.
Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so I looked that up, and we can get posts for the 8 posts would cost us about $3,200. Roy, you said you had a couple of nets. I'm sure we can buy a couple of nets for probably a net about $150 a piece, I would think. So that $10,000, that also needs to be clarified, what accessories actually are.
I mean, that could be the installation as well.
Yeah,
Except that in the original bid, it talks about putting in the sleeves. You put the posts in the sleeves. So I believe the sleeves should be, unless the sleeves are considered accessories, which are not mentioned there in the accessory item. To me, putting in the sleeves is part of the whole process. That should not be an accessory.
One would assume when you're pouring that. post-
Absolutely. And as I'm sure you're aware of, Roy, we don't assume anything with contractors, right?
No, I know.
So those would be things that Cheryl and I will talk about briefly, and you guys don't have to get involved with that. Just trying to get the specifics of the accessories. And
Fred, the demo, the site, only $5,000 off if the town did it. That seems a little low. What do you think?
Well, I don't know what to tell you. They're only taking 5,000 off. It's either negotiable or it's not. I don't know how they came up with that number.
Yeah, I like to negotiate that too.
it says the existing fencing and associated concrete foundations will be removed from the site, optional deduction.
Yeah, that's what the town does, I think.
That's what she's talking about, the 5,000.
Yeah,
That's the 5,000 that they're giving us.
I also know, also on there, they talk about 4 gates. Need 4? The person, they only have 2. I'm not sure you need 4.
yeah, it currently just has the gates in the front, correct?
But 1 front and 1 back, but the one in
Yeah,
the back
there's one in the back.
doesn't work. Well, it works, but it's always locked.
Yeah,
So that would be another place to knock down at least some costs on the fence, I would think.
Yeah. I thought the fence is high, and I think that's because of COVID. But
Well, they said, didn't Ryan say they hire a company to come in to do that? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they do the fence work.
And I know he told me that was holding up the quote, was the fencing, getting the fence quote, because the prices were jumping all over the place. And he told me it was hard to bid it, to give me a quote, because the prices are just crazy right now for fencing. But I don't know how we can go without a fence, right?
no,
No, you can't, because they have to take it down to put the cord up.
Yeah. Yeah. Are construction prices gonna decrease once the country stabilizes, or? Guess that's the $1 million question, right? Wait on the project for prices to go
It's at
down,
least-
or?
It's at least a $50,000 question. I don't see steel prices coming down. I don't know anything about concrete.
I mean, it may take a decade for everything to stabilize.
Unfortunately, that could be true, Martha. So, I
Always
mean,
looking on the half full.
well, I think we need to get a really firm, a much more firm, and it shouldn't take more than a phone call or 2, I wouldn't think, exactly what this is going to cost, because we've talked about this before. Again, I've got the Mohegan contact, and apparently Roy has a Foxwoods contact, and I don't really want to go to these people and say, well, we might need 50, but we might need 75, we might need 100. That's kind of too wishy-washy from my standpoint.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you mean to go for more money?
Well,
Mhm.
obviously, we don't have enough right now to do the project at the cost that it's at. I mean, at the very least, it's 467 and maybe minus another 5 if we can get them to change the accessories. So at the very least, we're at 462, and that's without the site design.
So it's about 50 grand.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And again, we got to send another note out to the grassroots people. Maybe if they see that it's actually going to happen, we'll get some more. You know, if we
Well-
say we're 50,000 away, we need your pennies and nickels, maybe we'll start getting some more in.
And
What do you think?
I,
What do you think, Cheryl?
well, the purchasing agent is back. He's been out for a couple days. So when this came in, I contacted him. So I haven't talked to him yet. And that's it. He's key as to how some of this works with the purchasing.
Oh,
So I can talk to him this week is my plan. And then just get more input on, you know, all of this.
I mean, isn't this the time of year that everybody gets hit up for giving to causes because you're going to take it off on your income tax, and it'd be nice.
That's why Bart gave now.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going to get people to give, it would probably be sooner rather than January.
Correct.
Well, I agree, Martha, but I also think we have to have a concrete number, or at least more concrete than what we've got now. As a side note, I called the other company, that's one of our action items, the RNS Site and Sport. I called them 6 times and they never called me back. So that was a
Yeah.
total loss.
Wow.
Who did you call?
They're called RNS Site and
R
Sport.
and S?
RS Site and Sport. It's in the old action item.
R, okay. That was really our only other option, correct?
That I know of, that we were made aware of. I mean, there's Cape Island and tennis is in Cape Cod. I think they did East Limes courts, and I think they did 6 of them, and it would cost $800,000, and that was about 4 or 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know what their cost would be, but I think staying local probably makes more sense. What do you think, Cheryl? Should we give some calls to some people to just try to get rough estimates?
Didn't we get Cape and Island for this? Wasn't it 600,000? We got something from them already.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, actually. It was way off.
Yeah.
Do you have any other contacts in your rec department circle that might have somebody else besides Classic?
Hinding tennis.
We've already pretty much talked that that's not the way to go.
Yeah,
We've looked at some, don't put this in the minutes, Martha, but we've looked at some Hinding tennis stuff, and they don't seem very reputable.
yeah, they're newer to post-tension concrete, from what I've heard. I mean, I just went to our annual rec conference and no one else is doing this post-tension, no one that showed. So, but if you put it out to RFP, then you find out who else is out there. But
Trying to think of who,
you can do an RFQ, a request for qualifications. And that puts something out on the state website. And you kind of briefly scope your project out and you ask what companies are even qualified. And that gets you a list,
How long does that take?
probably 3 months.
No, just to get the list back?
Government,
That's one more
the
thing we
city
have to.
only has one purchasing agent for the whole city. So it's a little slow.
Mumford Cove just had theirs done, and I can't remember who did them. It was not, who we're talking about.
Was it a post-tension project?
I believe so.
Roy, do you know any contacts? You do some construction stuff?
Not for this, no.
No. How about synthetic turf courts? Synthetic turf, like football fields.
There's a couple that we've worked with for the field turf. I'm just not sure if they do tennis. I'd have to look at school. I've got a couple of contacts that with turf, but
How about, what's the process at NFA for construction projects? Do you have to go out for bid and do the whole
yeah, you
RFP?
need
and
3
RFQ?
bids. Yeah, we
Okay.
typically need 3 bids if it's over $10,000.
Okay, curious.
So just to be square on this, Cheryl, if we did go out to proposal doing an RFP, is it conceivable that Classic Turf would come back with a higher bid just because of that whole process?
I don't know. We could ask him.
We use a company called Shaw. I think they're out of New Jersey. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I think the next step is we call Ryan from Classic Turf. Let's see how firm all of this is, right? And get the design. I thought he was including the design plan. But we can, see what these permit fees are, the design. I usually pay the permit fee with town, the building department. Those aren't usually too much. And then we go from there. Next meeting, we figure out from what he says.
Well, okay. Or what about you sending us out, hopefully a potentially revised quote, which would give us
Okay.
something to work with, and then we could start doing some calling and some re-emailing if we get something that's more palatable.
Mhm.
We do about an email basis.
Mhm,
Oh, so that for the fundraising effort, you mean?
Well,
mhm.
yeah, so that all the committee members know, who they're gonna contact, whether it be email or phone, or, and again, I still have that contact at Mohegan Sun, not that I know that it's gonna work, but,
Likewise for my Foxwood contact, but like I said, if we had a hard number, a number to ask for. I think we were originally looking to have them help us with parking lot and or lights, but I'm not sure if we're still thinking that or not, but
well, I mean, that, to me, right now,
secondary, I get it. We gotta get the courts up first.
I mean, it's cart before the horse sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that as our mission statement goes, I went back and reviewed that today. It does say for the most part that the focus of this committee is to try to redo and resurface the Armstrong courts. And I do think that that's where our focus needs to be. I don't want to speak for everybody, but that's my personal feeling.
Mhm.
And we still have those naming options, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That
Absolutely. I
was
mean,
in the original.
and I don't know about Roy, I would say that if you talk to we wind up talking to your contact and me to mine, is that they're either naming options or certainly permanent advertising, something along that line, that can be worked out. Because obviously we don't have to go to the level of, one donation of 300,000 anymore. It's a much smaller amount. If you could get, just throwing out the idea, if you could get Foxwoods to donate 25,000 and Mohegan to donate 25,000, or, if you get 1 or 50, that'd be great. But we still need that concrete number. But I think 2 with smaller donations would probably make more sense than one big one. I don't know. It depends on what somebody wants to do or not do.
All right, so Mumford Cove paid 267,000 for post-tension concrete, and they have 4 courts, but they wouldn't have needed fencing and all that prep work.
They already had fencing?
They already have tennis courts in Mumford Cove.
Right. And they already
But-
had the fencing?
Acrylic, non-cushioned surface, $80,000 per court. Classic Turf in Woodbury.
When did they do that?
They're doing it now.
Say what?
That's last I knew, everything is, well, maybe not a couple weeks ago now, it was in the process.
Okay. And so it was a total of 267 for the 4 courts?
80,000 per court.
Well, that's 320.
That's 320.
So why did someone, these are two different people who are talking to me. One said 267, and the other one said 80,000 per court.
Well, those aren't even.
Yeah, it sounds
No.
more like either 70 per court. It's
Post-tension.
267.
Both numbers are less than our quote, though.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but ours includes the fence though, and the fence is what, how much?
I'm just looking at the number 2. I have
100.
number 2 is post-tension. And it's 283, 975.
Now, the one that told me 80,000 per court is one whose husband did all the negotiating, so she's probably more up to date than the 267 person.
Do you think it possible that you could get us a little firmer, not necessarily written, but just something a little more concrete if you talk to them directly rather than a text?
Well, I can call, but one person told me it's 267K post-tension. The other
Okay.
one said 80,000. And
Well,
But if you look at post-tension plus the coating, right, and the surface,
right,
that brings us up to about 320. So it is about 80.
80 a court. All right,
acrylic non-cushioned surface.
I think that's what we had our quote at, wasn't it? Same stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Roy, you're saying it matches just for the,
It's
is
pretty
that what you're
close.
saying,
I
Roy?
think. If you look at those two pieces, if you look at the bid, numbers 2 and 3 essentially are the post-tension and the coating on top.
Yeah.
And 283
So they don't need
plus
three.
43,000 is going to bring you up around 30, 320, I mean, which is
Yeah.
80 a quart.
Hmm.
But again, that's today's prices. They're putting it in, and we're talking, a few months down the road, perhaps. And so they got, I guess, Classic Turf's got to kind of cover themselves on that end.
That's what he was telling me his struggle was. Prices are all over the place. They've got to cover what could happen between now and when they do the work for us.
Well, that's what happened in the Cove. They approved it a year ago, and they have to approve it because everybody's just paying into it. It's just a neighborhood courts.
Right.
And they approved it, and the treasurer of the group didn't get busy right away saying yes. And then by the time he got back to them, they said, oh, no, it's not that anymore. So then they had to go back to the whole group again. And yeah, so,
Which is something we want to hopefully avoid with
yeah.
donators who aren't part of the Mumford Cove piece.
Although we're kind of in that boat now because we knew it was about 400 and now it's like 470. It's like one of those things. The longer we wait, the more it's going to cost us.
Yeah.
But we're much
Is this
better off now than we were 6 months ago.
Sometimes they write that the quote they gave us is only good for so many days. Did anyone see that?
I didn't happen to see that.
I did not see that. But
Well, that's something to ask Ryan.
Okay.
You can't just say, well, you gave us a quote of 472 and now you've decided to add another 50,000 on. That's not, the quote has to be good for a while and it's got to be relatively firm.
It's a December 2nd.
All right. I'll give him a call tomorrow and find out a lot of these answers. Or Roy or Fred, I don't know if we want to do a call together. Maybe we should do the call together, Fred.
I'm okay with that. I'm
And then
pretty free
ask
tomorrow.
Did you see the, where it says that the fill material, provide the necessary fill delivered to the job discussed with Roger Moss from the city of Norwich to Classic Turf, November 28th, 2012?
That whole new bid is based on the old bid. Now, I don't know if Roger Moss still works for the town or not, but that's exact same thing as the old bid has.
I know, but so that concerns me because it says the owner to provide that fill delivered and the quote was November 28th, 2012.
Yeah, we'll ask about that. I don't know what that is.
That's just, I believe that's fill to level out the surface, to level out the project. Which shouldn't have changed a whole lot, I wouldn't think.
I think they
In
should,
10 years.
Well, it's just fill.
Yeah.
He went up there and
Trucking and stuff.
I think for 472,000, Classic Turf should provide the fill.
Could that be a typo and it's supposed to say 2021?
I wonder.
No. No, because the old,
Yeah.
I've got it here in front of me. The old one is 2009, but it's also says the same thing. So when he redid I'm sorry, 2020, when he did the redo almost 2 years ago, he just used the same thing and he just pulled it off as some template.
Is
Is he-
classic turf and field turf the same thing? I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, it's both on the heading here.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And I don't see any timeline or expiration date.
No.
I've been back and forth on this 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
So do you have were you able to get a list together of what you want to talk about when you call them back?
I highlighted my sheet,
Okay.
but
Because
Well-
we've thrown out a whole bunch of stuff now.
What, do you want to go over that briefly, Cheryl, what you've got written down, so we're on the same page?
all right. I have Y4 gates. Can we negotiate the town to demo the site from 5,000? I wanted to see if they'd deduct more for that. I said, why the item about Roger Moss? Who's gonna provide the fill?
Yep.
What else did I write?
The
big thing-
design,
The
the
design.
design.
Design, yep, the design, is that included? No sales tax. Reaffirming that there's no sales tax. What kind of permits do I need? Is it the regular building permit or maybe there's wetlands? I have to ask I don't think there's wetlands, but what else?
That's all I have. You have what I have.
The other
Yeah.
was a firm timeline on the bid.
Yes,
Expiration date. Yeah.
um,
What are you drinking there, Martha?
Oh, just a little something.
Didn't look like grape juice.
It looked like grape juice.
Well, it looked like it, but it had the wrong glass.
Aren't the rest of you doing this during this meeting?
Taking it much more seriously.
We'll see how the notes come out.
Yeah, exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth.
all right, I think that's it, right?
Okay.
And then if I think of anything else, we'll ask them when we call them.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're gonna drop us a email just with those things answered? Okay.
Sure,
So one of
Thank you.
one of the action items then is to potentially make the contacts once the committee has a firm number. Make the donor contacts.
Yeah,
okay.
Then we'll go back out to our lists. Is that what we're gonna do once we have a number? that be
I would
something
say
we can
so.
recycle, or we're gonna wait till next time?
if we have the time, I think it might be worth making a contact at the end of the year.
I think, Roy, that if you and I have a big contact like Foxwoods and Mohegan, I would say the faster we jump on that, the better. It's always, things is time-wise, always seem to take forever. The other contacts, I think we could probably wait on until the next meeting.
Okay.
Aaron, what about you? Do you think you can get back to the hospital? Step on some toes?
I can, yeah.
In a nice way. Don't push real hard on it.
Now, were we gonna do the thermometer again, or did we get rid of that whole idea?
I think we were waiting to know exactly what we needed,
Right,
right?
yeah,
So we can put it back up once we figure this part out.
yep. It would just be kind of nice once to get the number to do, like I don't know, bring it back to the forefront again. You know, this
Yeah.
is how far we are. We're almost there, folks, you know?
Yeah. Okay. All right, Fred, anything else?
Gonna ask the same question. Anybody have any other ideas or issues? Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays first.
Okay.
And likewise.
Great.
Telling me, Martha. Somebody make a motion to adjourn, please.
I will make that motion to adjourn.
All right, and.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay. All right, happy holidays and.
Happy holidays.
All right. See
Save
you in
that wine,
January.
save that wine for New Year's, Martha.
Yep.
Okay,
All right,
bye.
bye-bye.
No.